Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 4 of what has been the epic journey of this Japanese Sanshin. First of all, repairing the headstock and now replacing it. Yeah, it's been a journey. So once again, quick backstory, recap. I originally built this instrument a couple of years ago, and originally fitted it with viola tuning pegs, which were okay. They were always ever going to be just temporary until I bought or made some proper tuners, which I did in the end. I bought some of these larger tuners, and when I was reaming out the holes to fit those, the wood started to split. So I decided I had to repair the headstock, so I basically had to remove this section and put a new piece of wood in, and then do the same the other side, and then recut the holes. And I did that carefully, and it was absolutely fine. And I put all the tuning pegs back in, and it was great. But recently I knocked the Sanshin over onto the floor. It landed on the headstock, which subsequently exploded. So I redid the repair. Originally I just did sort of a butt joint top and bottom, both sides, and for that reason it wasn't really strong enough. So when I did the repair this time, I made these sides wider so that they overlapped top and bottom here, both sides. And it should have been strong enough, but what happened in the end, when I was putting the tuning pegs in, one of these, actually it was this one broke loose. I've kind of pushed it back in and bunged some glue in it for now. I don't know why. I mean, I'm probably not going to use this again, but anyway, that piece between the two holes broke away. So I was like, oh, I'm now going to do what I should have done right from the start and build a completely new headstock from scratch, which I've done. This is the finished article. It's a darker wood than the rest of the neck, but I kind of like that. It kind of matches the tuning pegs, so it makes the whole thing a feature. Because the headstock really is a feature on these instruments with the tuning pegs in it. It really stands out aesthetically. So I thought, there's nothing wrong with having the headstock a different colour, make the whole headstock and the tuning pegs a feature. Well, that all went really, really well. And then in the last episode, those of you that saw it, I put the tuning pegs in, I put the whole thing together, and started to string it up. And it was all going fine until one of the tuning pegs literally split in half. I said in that episode that I had dropped these tuning pegs on the floor a couple of times, and I think that one of those times I dropped it on the floor, it probably cracked, a little hairline crack in the shaft of the tuning peg. Such a hairline crack that it would have probably been invisible to the naked eye. I really should have checked them more closely after I dropped them, but I thought they'd be fine, and I was clearly wrong. I think that's what happened. That's why this tuning peg split in half. I think that when I dropped it, it did crack it. Such a fine hairline crack that I didn't see it. And then as I started to crank on it, it just broke away. Having said that, after I finished that video and removed the broken tuning peg and got it glued up, I had a closer look at the headstock itself. And so these two outer holes here are where the tuning pegs go in this way, number 3 and number 1. And obviously number 2 in the middle from this side. Now I had a close look at the entry holes, if that's what you want to call them, and this outer edge particularly on these two, was quite sharp, I guess. You know, where I'd sort of drilled and reamed the holes out, the edge around the hole was you know, very much a sharp corner into the hole, and it was, you know, it was the same on this one as well. So it is quite possible that as I was, you know, turning the tuning pegs into the hole, this kind of sharp edge around the outside might have, you know, started to make a score around the tuning peg there. And you know, it would have, because of that sharp edge, it would have, you know, sort of gripped on that. You know, it wouldn't have turned so easily. And also because like I said, because of the sharp edge around there, it might have actually scored a line around the tuning peg. Now, I doubt that was what caused the tuning peg to split in half. I very much doubt that caused it, but it may have been a contributing factor. Like I said, I personally believe that, you know, the peg shaft itself was cracked after I dropped it, and then, you know, grinding it into this hole with that sharp edge and possibly scoring a line around there, and also gripping this part on sort of on right on the edge there, gripping it tight. You know, that may have been a contributing factor into that tuning peg splitting. I can't be certain of that, but anyway, so these all had sharp edges on the outside, so I've addressed that. I've, you know, sort of used various tools to kind of chamfer this outside edge and smooth it with sandpaper as well, on all of the outer edges, both sides. Doing the inside edges is practically impossible, but I've done it as best I can, you know, where the sort of the end of the tuning peg goes into the other side. You know, the inside edge of there is kind of sharp as well, but I can only do so much with that. But where that tuning peg split, it was, you know, the start was around this area here. So, you know, I've smoothed all of the outer edges now, taken off the sharpness and smoothed them, beveled, chamfered, whatever you want to call it. So it's a much smoother transition now. So what I need to do now is take all this off and see what the join looks like. So I'm just gonna zoom in a bit, and we'll see how this is looking now. So let me just take the band off first. I'm hoping it's you know, it's a good repair. Okay, so let all that come off first. And this one, there you go. Woohoo! Keep going, keep going, keep going. A bit more. Yeah, it's probably stuck to the glue a little bit. Right, okay, so I've got a different light set up on the wall now. It's not as bright as the previous one, but it's a long strip light, so it gives me a bit of extra light, if you were. So there it is. So I'm going to use that just to have a close-up look at this. I'm even going to use a magnifying glass and have a really good close-up look at this and see what the repair looks like. Yeah, it's I've got to be honest, it's not quite as good as I would have hoped. It seems to have slipped away a bit. It's as though, you know, it kind of, the two pieces separated that way a little bit, a fraction, because I can basically see the join all the way around. So it's across there. The join goes across there and then up there, across here, and then down there. Yeah, it's not. I've got to be honest, it doesn't look as good as I'd hoped it would. So what I'm going to do is because there's little bits of that rubber stuck to it. So it might be just that the rubber is stuck to the glue and it's just left bits of rubber behind. So I'm just going to scrape all that off, the bits of rubber that are on the join, and then have another look, because it might be okay under that. I'm not sure. It might be deceiving my eye. So let's get. Let me see. What can I use? Because I don't want to scratch the finish off of that, really. Okay. Let me just find something I can use. I suppose a scalpel will be okay if I'm careful. Zoom in a little bit. So I'm just gonna, like I said, just scrape off those little bits of rubber that have stuck to the glue, and then have another look. So I'm just gently scraping it with the blade of this scalpel, and remove any glue residue as well. There's a little lump of glue just there. But like I said, I don't really want to take any of the finish off of this. So I'm just very lightly scraping that. Goes right up into the handle part of it here. Okay. Hard to tell yet. Let me just scrape a little bit more off of there. Actually, it is looking better now. Now that I've scraped all that, or most of the rubber off that was stuck to the glue. Ah, yeah, actually, that is a pretty good repair. Well, we'll see, won't we? Let's just get a closer look at that. Actually, I think, so you can probably just about see the line there. And it's still a little bit of that rubber stuck to it. Can you see that? Where is it? Can't see it myself now. Yeah, it looks like it goes up there, and I can barely see it. I can literally only see that part there. So maybe it is better than I thought. Actually, I think that really is quite a good repair. I mean, like I said, you can see it, you can see the line there, but I think what it is you know, the glue that's squeezed out of the crack across there, and the rubber is stuck to it. I don't want to scrape anymore, because you can see I'm already starting to remove the finish a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So I think we're going to try that, see how we go. I mean, you know, like I said in the previous episode, this is either going to work or it's not. If not, I can't really make another one that's going to match this exactly, and the main reason is because of this big, pretty sure it's plastic. It's supposed to look like bone, but I think that's a plastic cap on the end, and there's no way I'd be able to even remove that and put it on a different one and get all of this right as well and get the color right. I mean, if I have to, I will, but I'll probably end up buying some more of these if this does fail. So well, I guess we're going to find out. Just zoom in a little bit there. Okay, so let's carry on from where we were last time. For you, last week. For me, yesterday. Right, so I might, I'm thinking about swapping pegs 1 and 3. I might swap them over, because string 3, which is the thicker string, and obviously the deeper or lower string, is not going to have as much tension on it, and provided the holes line up for the strings, which they do. Yeah, I'm inclined to. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, now I'm gonna. Right, think, man, think. No, I'm gonna leave them as they are, because it's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. I'm not gonna cheat myself. So, right, so put the body back on again, and the string holder at the end, and my little wedge. Where is that? Down. Okay. Push that through a little bit more, 20 bit more. Okay, so here goes, same thing again. Let's get my neck block, just put that under there, and here we go again. So like I said, it's going to work or it's not going to work. It's as simple as that. So, you know, like I said, we're pretty much back to where we were last time. We will see what happens. So I'm going to put number 1 in first, which will be which hole? That one. Right, let's get me little pliers. Okay, string 1 going in again. You know what? I'm going to basically take this. No, I'm not. I was going to say take this up to tension all the way before I even put the others in, but it could put a little bit too much strain on one side of the neck. So I'm going to do it my normal way. Just hope it works. Right, so let's get that one wound on. Pull that string through a tiny bit more. Okay. Alright, so that string is now on. I've got a feeling this is going to fail, you know, but we'll see. Right then, number 2 is going to go in which hole? I think that one. Okay, wind that one on. Okay, and number 3, which is going to go in, I think the end hole. Actually, let me just, yeah, it's going to go in the first hole nearest this side. Go on, in you go. There we go. Okay, let's get that wound on. Right, so bridge. I'm going to put the bridge in and then start to crank on those tuners. See how we go. Fingers crossed, but I've got to be honest, I think it's going to fail. Right, tuning app. I'm using the one on my tablet this time. My phone's on charge. As soon as I find it. There we go. Okay. Right, so let's start with the middle string as before. I guess you can't see that. Oh, it doesn't matter. There you go, now you can see it. Right, so I'll start with the second string, which is an F. That's a D. E. Okay, well high at the moment, but that's fine. So I'll go to the, I'm going to leave that until last. So I'm going to go to the third string now, which is a low C. Okay, here we go then. This is the one that's I've just repaired. I'm going to ease into it. That's an octave down from where I need to be. Whoa. String keeps winding back, I don't want that. Okay, we're up to an A. So far so good. Actually, looking at that join now, that break, it's about there, where the break started, so it's nowhere near that hole. So that confirms what I think is that, you know, when I dropped it, I cracked it. So it had nothing to do with that sharp edge in there, because that peg is pretty much in as far as it was before, but the break, I can see the line, it starts just there. So that probably had nothing to do with it. Up to a B. Oh, that's okay, that's the string slipped out. Nothing to do with the tuning peg. Okay. That's a bit of a nuisance. Okay. So I need to poke a bit more of the string through the hole, because it just slipped out. It's not, so there's not a failure on that repair just yet. I mean, yeah, nylon strings they're kind of, you know, they do this. They slip out, especially when it's all to do with friction. You know, like these instruments, like violins and violas, it's all held together with friction. So, and these are pretty much the same, really. So let me just poke a little bit more of that string through than before. Okay, let's try that. Okay. Right. Start again. Okay, where are we up to? A long way down. G flat, A flat, B flat. Right, so we're up to pitch now, which I don't think we managed last time, so it's looking good. So far. I shouldn't have said that, should I? That was a silly thing to say. I'm just trying to move the string over a bit so that the wraps all go together. It's kind of come right over this side. I don't really want that. But it's a bit tricky to do this when the string's right up to tension. Okay, that got it. Alright, let's just check for... So we've gone down to an A flat. Oh, that's right up to a D. And honestly, that join, that repair is looking fine, absolutely fine. Okay, so everything is actually up to a higher pitch than it you know is normal. Okay, so so far so good. And again, I've just said the silliest thing that I shouldn't say. But where we're looking right now, I think we're done. Finally. So there it is all together, and I personally think these instruments look really, really good. I love these old style traditional instruments, you know, whether they're Asian or African or European, anything. I love this really old style look of instruments. I mean, you know, modern instruments, they're great, but this is basically what, I mean, this design is probably literally at least a couple of thousand years old, at least. So, you know, these instruments originate from the island of Okinawa in Japan. And I've done a little bit of research, but not much, and I know that this design goes back at least a few hundred years, at least. So I'm guessing it could well be a lot more than that. And I personally love this design of instrument. And so that's currently a D flat. It should be a C, so it should be C F C. So we've got D flat, F sharp, and D flat again. So let's just have another look at that tuning peg, and honestly, it's looking absolutely fine. So, I mean, I've just learned to, excuse me, I've just learned to be pessimistic. With, you know, the problem is, I mean, you know, I'm good at what I do. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. But this is, you know, this is not high grade wood. It's very thin. So repairs like this are, you know, borderline. But the way it's looking at the moment, I'm really happy with that. I think we're done, finally. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey getting here. What with the, you know, repairing the headstock twice and then completely building a new one. And once again, I am over the moon with the finish of that headstock. I think it looks amazing. And then we had another problem with the broken tuning peg, which we appear to have fixed. And like I said, if it does fail, I'll just get a, you know, buy a couple more. I'm not going to attempt to make it. It's way too time consuming, and to get it to match exactly would be near impossible. And these were cheap enough, so I'll just buy some more if it does fail again. But the way it's looking at the moment, I think we're good. I mean, the main project here was the headstock. So I built the new headstock, which is absolutely spot on. So tuning pegs are, you know, they're a minor thing. So if that does fail, I'll just buy some more. But the way it's looking at the moment, we're good. So there it is. Japanese Sanshin gets a new headstock, and there it is, and it's looking amazing. And I love the sound of these things as well. I mean, I can't play it, and it's not in tune. I mean, for a little tiny body like that, you know, it's got good sound projection. Not great sustain, but you wouldn't expect that. But these instruments are not built for sustain because they're melody players. You don't really play chords and things on these. You play, you know, single string melodies. That's the way they're designed. Anyway, I think that's enough waffling, and I think we're done here. Japanese Sanshin gets a new head, and job done. Finally. Oh dear. Which is great because I want to move on. I've got other projects in the pipeline that I want to get on with. but I'm actually going to take a break from it for now, because I'm now uploading these videos once a week. By the time you see this, for me, will have been weeks ago, literally. So I'm going to take some time, as I said, to you know, practice playing some of my instruments, get a bit better on some of them. I think I'll probably concentrate on the Irish tenor banjo, because I've literally not touched it since I finished it. That and probably the bass. I'm going to concentrate on those initially. I mean, I've got 20 instruments. I can't learn to play all of them at once. It'd be impossible. So I'm going to probably do, like, you know, probably a couple of weeks on the Irish banjo and the bass, which are completely different instruments. So I'll have to alternate between them before I get on to my next project. So when these video uploads come to an end for you, I will then start, maybe not even then, but I'm going to start doing the next project in a few weeks from now, not right now. And they're quite interesting projects. I'll just give you a little bit of a clue. They're electric, 3 of them, 3 different ones. So that will be coming soon, and I'm going to need your help with that. I'm not going to say too much, but with regards finish. Okay, so that will be coming up soon. Japanese Sanshin is finished, done. And yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the filming so that I can do, you know, practice my instruments. In the meantime, please look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.